This is the Seahawkers podcast, episode 472. I'm Brandon Schultz, and I am joined by my good buddy, Adam Emmert. Adam, we are live on a Wednesday night, and we are talking Seahawks football. How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. Let's hope this live goes a little better than the last one. I think we're going through these mics, right? Yeah. We got
check, mic check. Yes,
mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
We might need to do that. But see, we're back at our normal setup. It sounds fine. We're probably fine. At least I hope we're fine.
Yeah, well, what we talked about after that show, Brandon, like all y'all in the comments, like, thanks a lot. Thanks for the heads up. Like, they'll tell us this time.
But we've got lots to talk about with this Seahawks team. And we should probably let people know up front, we are doing things a little bit differently by doing our flagship show live, and we thought we might split this up into a couple different nights, maybe just do the recap, kind of put a close to the week that was in Seahawks football, look ahead a little bit to the Steelers, but then re-adjourn back here Friday night and talk a little bit more Seahawks and actually do like a solid game preview. And that's just something we're trying out for this year, because why not?
Yeah, well, I honestly think that it could be significantly better since we're going to be able to keep our focus to one of the two games instead of trying to do recap and then preview and all that. And also, too, it gives you more stuff in your feed for you, the listener. And I think that'll be cool. But definitely relying on you guys here over the course of the next 2 or 3 weeks to let us know if this is a bonus for you or if this is a downgrade for you. So just let us know.
Well, we are into letting people know that because we are live, why don't you drop a like? And if you're new to the show, subscribe while you're here. That way you can know when we're doing these live things each and every night that we decide to go live. And I see as we are live, Adam, we've got our live executive producer, Ryan911, coming in with a $9.99 super chat saying, "Go Hawks."
Hey, go Hawks, Ryan. Appreciate you as always, my man. We have to do the recap today of the stupid 49ers game. We don't get to skip it. We can't just skip it. Go on to Friday.
I mean, we're here. We may as well talk about it a little bit. There are some things, Adam, that, when you cover it right after the game, we didn't get to everything. And now that we've had a couple days to digest it a little bit, yes, and maybe even go back and rewatch a game that maybe we did not want to rewatch. There are some things that stood out that I think are worth talking about here midweek.
For sure. And so I'm curious, I'd like you to kind of start out. Do you want to start out offense and defense, and whichever one, what was kind of maybe your first takeaway watching it on the TV copy as opposed to from way up in the end zone as we did, which was great in its own right, but yeah, a very different perspective.
I guess the thing that stood out to me that maybe shocked me when I looked at the stat sheet for some of the more advanced stats at the end of the game was the idea that we only went play action like one time, maybe two, depending on who's counting.
Two? Yeah, but again, there you go. Yeah.
And that to me was surprising because, and we touched on this a little bit, we were told of what this identity of this offense would be throughout the offseason. And I thought the play action would kind of go into that a little bit. It turns out, not so much.
It's bizarre to me, and it's funny that you would start there because top of my notes when it came to the offensive side of the ball, no play action. Like, I can't understand that for the life of me for a couple reasons. One, the run game, while not amazing, it was effective. Like, they were able to move the ball a bit running the football. And in fact, of their first 14 plays in the first quarter, 11 of them were runs. They only threw the ball 3 times. So that in and of itself right there shows you that they were effective enough running the football to kind of stick with it. Well, when you do that, that's the miracle of running the football is now you get the play action that you can run off of it. And it sucks up the linebackers. And it's something that you saw the Niners do to us at nauseum and really kill us with tight ends. So it's the thing that kind of completes the circle of the Kubiak offense, and we didn't do it.
And before we move on, and because we are live, Adam, are you in a downpour? Is it a monsoon situation in Phillipsburg, Montana?
not quite a monsoon, but of course, the second we start, the skies open up, and we do have a metal roof on the cabin, and so it is noisier than expected. So thanks a lot, gods. Like, I don't know.
They just know when we're about to record, so we'll get through it. And if the extra noise bothers you throughout this, I'll edit it and post, and it'll sound just fine, right? I hope so.
Yeah, it'll sound fine. And no, I don't need a raft. I didn't need to be rescued last time. Like, we're self-sufficient-ish out here. Like, we'll be just fine. It's gonna go away. It's gonna go away, right?
I wanted to get your take on this too, because it fits into the idea that the run game was relatively effective, especially on a couple drives. And I want to know why you think that maybe they didn't do as much play action. Do you think it was, I don't know. One of the other things that I saw is that Sam Darnold was getting the ball out quickly. And so the idea of him getting it out quickly, not doing play action, do they not trust this offensive line enough to maybe run some longer developing plays? And so I did have that concern that maybe they just aren't quite there with this offensive line and being able to trust them.
Yeah, maybe that's the case because there's not a lot of logical explanations. The only one that I could come up with was the idea that basically that it was kind of like a tendency breaker. Just thinking, oh yeah, Niners prepared for play action all week. I'm Clint Kubiak. I'm smarter than you. I'm not going to run it. Like, was that it? I mean, that maybe. But with that said, the lack of shot plays in getting the ball downfield, I'm curious as to what the average depth of target is for Sam Darnold in this game. It can't be very far. I mean, he did hit a couple longer ones to JSN. But the other thing is, too, all right, fine. A lot of these, well, I guess it's probably 50-50 we're under center, out of shotgun in terms of the passing game. And, when you're under center and you're running a 5-step drop, that takes some time either way, whether or not, you're running play action or not. So, I mean, are you really protecting your offensive line and making it that much shorter by not running the play action part of it?
Yeah. Does it really add that much to a play to actually stick your arm out as the running back goes by? Like, I think you can still be pretty quick with the ball and run play action. That doesn't make much sense to me. So, and the tendency breaker thing too, it's week 1. And what do you gain by not, what do you gain by not doing play action versus doing play action? It seems backwards to me.
The only thing I could think of that you gain is that it's a cleaner look for the quarterback in terms you're not turning your back to the defense and then having to snap your head around and get the picture again and try to decide where you're going with the football. But even if it's a cleaner look, you probably don't have quite as many or quite as much separation to work with your receivers because that play action does suck the linebackers up and does give you a little extra space. And yeah, it was perplexing because I think when you look at the offense in terms of just, was the run game working? You're like, yeah, it worked. It wasn't amazing, but it worked. Did the pass game work? It was pretty underwhelming.
Looking at some of those advanced passing stats, there is the intended air yards, which is air yards on all pass attempts, and then there's air yards per pass attempt. And there is some disparity because if you're going to throw it away, you throw it deep. If you're, those deep incompletions is what I think makes it a little bit smaller number. So if you look at completed air yards per pass attempt, the Niners and the Seahawks were the exact same at 4.5.
Which one is it that doesn't take out the deeper incompletions? Like, say, the one shot to JSN in the first drive of the fourth quarter that was over their shoulder, contested catch, damn near had it, but it got ripped away.
Right. That would put in all of the pass attempts. And if you look at that, then Sam was at 8.6 and Brock Purdy and the Niners were at 7.4.
Wow, I would think that would be flip-flop based on the game, but Yeah, I mean, stats don't lie, I guess. I mean, that's it. That's what it was. Because it did feel like a lot of the Seahawks passing game centered around stuff at or behind the line of scrimmage for the most part. Unless you're talking about right before end of half and they're trying to push it down the field a little bit. It felt like they were doing it there. But, one of the things watching it live was the feeling of, okay, we've been running it to enough effect that it's time to, and they're sitting on the short stuff and underneath, it's time to take that shot play, like run play action, take that shot play. And it never came about. Like they really did not threaten the defense down the field enough to make the Niners respect it in any way.
It was also interesting that on the drives where they had the most success, they really didn't need to pass a whole lot. The very first touchdown that they scored with Zach Charbonnet, on that drive, they completed one deep pass to JSN. It was the JSN show. They completed that was the only pass completion that entire drive because the A.J. Barner was a carry for the 2-yard sneak. And then it was an incompletion to Cup in the end zone that gave him the 1st and 1, and Zach Charbonnet able to punch it in. So that on that entire scoring drive, one completion for 21 yards.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild, but it does show, the difference between what part of the offense was working and what wasn't. Do you want to go to receivers next? Maybe let's leave that for a second. Let's talk about third down a little bit, because this is the other thing that stood out to me. Seahawks 3 for 10 on third down.
Yeah.
Straight up not good enough. Not good enough, soldier. We can't do that. And I think the hard part for me is how many third downs were 3rd and 6 or longer? That'd be 1, 2, 3. 3 of them were 6 yards or longer to convert the third down. And they obviously did not connect on any of those. But, you kind of go down the list: 3rd and 5, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 8, or 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. And they only converted on 3 of those.
And they were all 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2?
Yeah, like 3rd and 4 or less was just right where you want to be. Because I was like, you're watching the game, you're like, time of possession is way out of whack. And it's because, the Seahawks had, a couple good drives and then a bunch of really bad drives in terms of 5 out of their 10 possessions were 3 and outs.
Right.
Like that, you gotta at least possess the ball a little bit and move it in flip field position. If you're going to play this style of football, you can't be going 3 and out that often. And you got to convert on those 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s. Like that's, you got there for a reason. I mean, this is how you want to play ball. Like that should be, you should have like a 75-25% chance of converting on those.
Yeah. Well, they were able to convert the 3rd and 1s and 2s. It was when it got to 3rd and 4, then that was just too much for them. Then Cooper
they got
Kupp
3rd and 4.
they
that was one of their 3.
And they got a 4th and 3, which was a penalty that helped them convert it by the Niners. So they did get a conversion there. But I think that kind of spoke to how effective the run game was, at least inside of short yardage type situations. Let's talk about the running backs, because what was your takeaway here with Zach Charbonnet, Ken Walker after this game?
I think my takeaway is this: if you want to put Charbonnet in to be the quote number 1 and just whoever gets the line shares of carries, and then have Ken Walker be your Sonic, like a Knuckles and Sonic kind of thing, like they're doing in Detroit, okay, then do that. If you want to say, hey, we're going to give Ken Walker the line shares of the carries because, for 3 out of the 4 runs, he'll get a 3-yard run, a 1-yard run, a 4-yard run, and then a 46-yard run. And like, that's your cup of tea, and you want to get your explosives that way. And then Sharps is your guy that comes in and gives him a breather. And, it's like 3-1 carries for whoever the lead back is, then do Ken Walker. Like, whichever it is, choose one. Whichever, there's a legitimate enough argument, I think, at this point to be made for either back.
Yeah.
And this splitting the carries, what was it, 10 and 12 carries a piece?
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to get it done. Your guys can't get in a rhythm And, I didn't think Ken Walker, I heard some of the bemoanment of like, oh, Ken, he just doesn't see the holes and he's always bouncing it. And, the same stuff that people have said over the years. You go back and you watch the tape and it's like, no, that's not what was going on there. I only had one carry for
zone ones. I think there's that criticism where he could have put his foot in the ground and tried to get more yards rather than bouncing it out. That there was like
respectfully disagree on the outside zone, that flow type run. There was one specifically up the middle where the center got pushed back a little bit and he could go to his left or his right side of the center. And it was clear you should go left, and he didn't see it, and he went right and ended up taking about a half-yard loss. I thought that was his one, like, really poor read. I don't think he made a lot of poor reads otherwise. And one thing I do think that Charbonnet does better than Ken Walker is he gets skinnier through the hole. He's able to kind of sneak through.
I mean, is a great example of that. And that was kind of my thought, is that if we've seen any growth from last year to this year, I have not seen Charbonnet be able to make a decision and really go through like that skinny of a hole for a touchdown. Like, that was probably the most refreshing play to me. But my takeaway was, I feel like you're jumping ahead a little bit in terms of splitting carries and how much, someone does what. It looked to me like one guy had played during the preseason and was able to read blocks more effectively, and one guy didn't.
I just wholeheartedly couldn't disagree more with that take. And the reason
you said there was one where he didn't recognize the hole, and I thought I saw at least one other one.
Okay, so max 2, if we want to agree to disagree on that part. Okay, so max 2 out of his 10 carries, and I didn't go back and nitpick Sharp's attempts the way that it did Ken Walker on the rewatch, but I bet you can find at least one for Sharp's too, if not 2. Like, they're people. They're like, I just didn't think that this seems to happen, and I don't know. I mean, at some point maybe you end up having to point at the back, but it does feel as if there seems to be a little bit more there in terms of the holes for Sharps on a consistent basis. And that's why I'm like, look, then just keep Ken and do it more, because, when those holes do seem to pop up, then it's not that, it happened to pop up when Sharps was in there, and you can be a little more explosive. So especially after watching this game, my big overall takeaway is, if I were to choose, and this will be an unpopular take and people will roast me in the comments, I would choose Ken Walker to be the guy to go out there and be your number one back, who's your bell cow back, who takes the majority of the snaps, because what we saw out of the passing game is there's not going to be a shit ton of explosives. Yeah. So if you're going to rely on your run game to be getting you your explosives, you better have the explosive back in the backfield, because Charbonnet may be more consistent, but he's not going to be the guy who's breaking off big ones in catfish.
Yeah, that's okay. It's fine. I'm for the more explosive player. I'm just really curious to see how they divvy this up going forward, because it's not just even a division of carries, it's also a division of which one they tend to run outside zone plays with, which ones they decide to run gap scheme plays with. And it was interesting hearing the division of it after the fact, that they used Zach more in the wide zone runs than they did Ken, and gave Ken more of the gap scheme runs. And that's kind of inverted from, I guess, what I thought maybe their strengths were, but it maybe suggests too that they think that they just need to give Ken a hole to go through. And if it doesn't open up, then it's not there. But if it does open up, then he's off to the races and you get an explosive.
Yeah. I mean, that might be the mentality there. Either way, I do think that you made a good point about, okay, it seemed as if Charbonnet was being given a lot more of the wide zone. Ken Walker maybe more of the pull, gap scheme stuff or trap stuff or whatever it is, or power up the middle. And I would say keep one back in for the majority of those either way, because it's going to break tendencies once again, because it wouldn't take long. What's it going to take? Max 3 games of doing something that consistently, the other teams are going to pick up on it, and you're going to be giving yourself tells by just personnel groupings.
Sure.
Little like having Jimmy Graham out there and being like, oh, they're definitely throwing.
Well, and both should be able to do both. It's not like running
And they
backs.
can.
You aren't asking them to do something that they're not capable of. It's just what they're better at.
Yeah. I agree, and we'll see. We'll see what Kubiak does going forward. And again, it's week 1. I am not going to overreact to this offensive performance. It was uneven. It was choppy. Some of the bones of it were there that I'd like to see. And as you pointed out, well, the play action at the top, like we got to incorporate that more. And I didn't see a lot of motion as well within the offense, not as much as maybe I would like.
No, I think the Seahawks were toward the bottom of the league in terms. I think I saw an article that considered it boring to not use play action and to not use motion, and that the Seahawks are one of the most boring offenses based on those metrics.
I mean, a fair enough description of the performance from the offense. It was tepid at best. And going back and we're talking about the pass game, and talking about Darnold and his performance. I don't know that there's much to bang on. He missed about 3 throws that he should have had, but I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't awesome. The fumble, I'm definitely not putting that on Sam Darnold. Like, I haven't watched it again and again. Like, it's just a bad break, man. And Abe he didn't get beat, but he loses the rep by allowing Bosa that much. The one criticism I'd have on Darnold on the fumble is there's room there to take a half a hitch forward, and now you don't have that happening. But, I mean, it's bang, bang.
Right.
I'm not going to kill Darnold on that stuff.
Shane Turner Acoustic coming in with $2.99 Australian, saying, morning, legends, go Hawks. Good morning to you, Shane. And what do you think about this idea? Matt Hasselbeck was on Hawk Blogger's show earlier this week, and he was kind of criticizing Sam Darnold for kind of that throwing motion that's elongated, because where he lost the football was more around Abe's waist than Abe's shoulder.
It's on his ass.
Yeah.
It was a butt fumble. It was a butt fumble. Which
At
sucks.
least he didn't run into Abe's butt and then fumble the ball.
Wasn't nearly as ugly as the butt fumble, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, look, is Sam's motion as compact as CJ Stroud's? Absolutely not. Like, it's not. Is it a unworkable Tim Tebow throwing motion? No, it's not. It's a fine throwing motion. He gets enough velocity. He does manage to get the ball out quickly because of anticipation for the most part. So I wouldn't bang on that maybe as much as Matt did in his interview.
Chris Barnhart saying, I hate to say it, but do we have to give the Niners D line any credit? No, I refuse. I'm not giving
just
them
Bosa, just Bosa on the one play.
I do wonder if they respected the defensive line more than they should have. Again, going back to how quickly Darnold was getting rid of the football.
Yeah, and I imagine like that's going to be the wheelhouse that they want to live in to some degree. But you need to crank up the shot plays by 25% at least. And I think to do that, they need to make an early and quick change at the wide receiver pecking order. It's already clear to me. And I'm not one to, I kept telling myself, it's week 1 stuff. Don't overreact.
I think you said by week 8 or 10 that Torrey Horton would overtake Cooper Kupp. And I feel like this is where you're going. You want to be there week 2 as opposed to waiting to week 10.
Yeah, he's done. Like, look, he had one impactful play in the game, and it was drawing a PI in the end zone. His other 2 big targets, one was on the final drive, or the second to last drive, where they end up kicking the field goal instead of going for it on 4th down, which I'd love to get your opinion on after rewatching. But 3rd down play before that, he runs the route well short of the sticks, and clearly they weren't like. Sometimes I understand that if Kubiak is in Sam's ear at the beginning of that play, being like, "We got 2 downs here, we got 2 downs." And knowing that, hey, we're going on for 4th, no matter what, we're doing it. Clearly that wasn't the case because they didn't do it.
Right.
Dude, you've been in the league long enough. You got to run that route past the sticks. Like that's Bush League. And then a critical third down drop in the third quarter, which honestly, it's the third quarter where I think things really got where the Seahawks missed their opportunity to take this game by the horns.
Right.
Because the defense turns over the Niners a couple times. They get the block field goal and the offense sputters. And one of it was Darnold puts one right on the money on a slant on a third down, and Kupp just drops it. He can't stretch the field, and they need more shot plays. I need more Tory time. They need to make the switch now.
I thought you might even go to Bobo with Bobo coming back this week.
No. As much as I love Bobo for all the reasons we all love Bobo, we're going to get that compliment to JSN who had, and we can get back to JSN too, because whale of a game, big game short of the fumble.
Yeah.
You need Torrey Horton. The other dudes on the rosters don't have the type of explosiveness to complement him in a way to really be able to push the ball downfield.
I think it's not super fair either to just entirely gloss over the fumble by JSN, because to me that was as impactful as the drop, if not more impactful than Kupp's drop, because he's turning it over to the other team. Like, they had a chance to pull ahead, and then you've got you're giving your defense, who has pressured Purdy at least into 2 interceptions throughout the day. Like, there could have been more pressure, but the numbers overall were pretty good. It was up in the 30% range, which is good. If they give them that 2-score lead to really light up Purdy in the final 20 minutes of the game, it changes the game entirely to me.
Changes the whole dynamics. It was there. It was right there in the third quarter, and the defense had cranked it up and said, look, we're going to take this game by the horns. And the offense said, nope. In between Kupp and JSN, like that ended 2 possessions. In, I wanted to go back because from our vantage point up in the stands, you couldn't tell what the heck happened to JSN on that, and like whether or not it was just, whether he didn't have a good grip on it and just like blurped it out, or if somebody got a good hit or whatever. A guy kind of punched at it, and it popped out. Absolutely unacceptable.
It was not a peanut punch type. It not like, what did we see, the one from the Rams linebacker where he just boom,
yes,
knocks it out of the dude's hands. Like, you're expected to hold on to the football with a tackle attempt like that.
Yeah, and the reason why it's a little easier to gloss over the JSN fumble is that he did a lot of stuff in the passing game, and was
the offense. He was the passing offense.
He was the passing offense, and Kupp did diddly squat followed by diddly poo. So
he set up the 1-yard touchdown run. So,
huzzah!
There was that. Going back to the 4th and 1, because it was the Kupp catch that led to that 4th and 1. And I was sitting next to Amy, who is in the chat right now, and I said, as it happened, I don't like this. I don't like that we're kicking a field goal in this situation. And part of it, too, was that the way that drive played out. The one throw to Kupp was the only pass that entire drive. It started on the 47, so they didn't have that far to go, but it was a K9 run, a Sam Darnold scramble, another K9 5-yard run. This is essentially where Kenneth Walker got all his yards on the day. Zach had a 7-yard run. K9 went for 4 more, and then had a negative 1 rush before that 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7 pass that went for 6 yards. I understood the decision, and to hear Mike break it down afterward, I understand why you would do that. It just, with it being a division rival, with it being just that idea of being aggressive, put your foot on their throat, choke them out, make Brock Purdy go the distance, and not just set him up for a potential tying field goal. Make them go down and score a touchdown, which they ultimately did. The way that I understood it, though, from Mike, is that if you go for it, you take more time off the clock, and then maybe you don't get the ball back with that opportunity to score a touchdown. So it did kind of set up to where they scored the touchdown, then they had a chance to win, and they did almost win it. So I didn't like it at the time, but again, I understood it.
Is there also an analytics component to that for you? Like, I just want to flush your thought process on it out fully.
Oh, I think the analytics on it were like a 75% win percentage versus a 77% win percentage. So the analytics to me, when I went back and looked, it was negligible. And I think that Mike, at least from his answer, is that he considered that. And then it was also, again, that time component and also the fact that the defense had been stopping them all day. So you have that trust in your defense. I want to say, and that's why going back and again, focusing on the lack of play action, the getting it out quickly, they didn't have the same trust in their offense that I think he had in his defense, maybe rightfully so.
Maybe rightfully so. I mean, everything about the game said that this is the decision to make. So I agreed with it in the moment, and on further review, I agree with it even more. Because this wasn't a 40, 42 point game like Ravens Bills the other night, where, it's laser shows, the defense can't stop anybody, and you give the ball back to the Niners. Well, they're likely going to score because they've scored in the last 4 possessions. Like, defense can't get it done. When would it have been the last time the Niners had scored a touchdown in that game?
Yeah, it was in the first quarter.
Right, when they were assisted by a god-awful roughing the passer penalty because Leonard Williams decided to, take a little bit off of it and actually hold up and not, hit Brock Purdy full force, and like brushed up against him with the loveliest of love taps. And Brock Purdy decided to go with full Oscar mode and try to get best actor of the day. Like, that's how they got their one touchdown on the day. And so if you kick the field goal, you're thinking, well, they got to score a touchdown to win. They haven't been able to do diddly poo after that. Like, we're going to be able to go out there with the defense, which has been the stronger side of our football team all freaking day. We've turned them over twice, 3 times if you count the block field goal. And I'm a defensive head coach. It's a low-scoring affair. Our offense has been horrendous on 3rd and 4th down today. Like, everything in this game, in this situation, says you kick the field goal.
The other part to it is knowing that in that short amount of time, with the Niners getting it back under 3.5 minutes, it's understanding that they're going to get to a point where it is going to be 4th down mode for them, which does, analytics-wise, increase their chance of scoring because they are then going for it on all 4 downs, which is something you wouldn't do early in the game necessarily because you're trying to win. So that analytical piece plays into it too, but it was also, again, part of Mike's explanation, and I think it plays into those percentages that decide whether to go for it versus not go for it.
Yeah, and analytics just never takes into account who's on the field, how everybody's playing, what the vibe of the stadium is, all of that. And that's why it falls short in being a really good predictor of what to do in any situation. Anybody's listening to the show, like, I'm definitely more of a what does football say in comparison to what does the math say. But beyond that,
I don't even, it's not even entirely the math. It's like the snail saying in chat, I want to bite kneecaps with Dan Campbell and go for it. Like, I kind of like that idea of the aggressive mentality against your division rival to say, yeah, we're going to, because this entire drive so far to this point has been jellying it down your throat. Here we are at 3rd and 1. No, we are not going to stop. We're going to keep running it and pounding it, and we're going to run right through you because that's what we have been doing.
All right, there's merit to the argument. Like, yeah, I mean, like, look, you can make a compelling argument either way. For me personally, like, trying not to second guess things and play armchair quarterback. Like, what did you feel in the moment, and how does that line up with the facts on the ground? After the fact. I think you should kick it there. Beyond Niners being in 4th down mode and that increasing their analytics in terms of being able to score on the next drive, what really increases their probability of scoring on the next drive is Reek Woolen having a complete mental breakdown on the last drive of the game for the 49ers.
Should we expect that? Have we come to expect that with Reek
I
Woolen?
do now.
That's just what's going to happen.
Look, I thought a lot about this because I wanted to be sure to be fair to Reek in this situation and really look at it, really think about his history. And he actually prevented a touchdown early in the game. He had a nice ball that he knocked away from Pearsall on a late reaction play. And so, put that in the bank. But it's the style in which he got beat both times on that drive that marries up with some of the other problematic parts of his game that we have seen over the years. And it all comes down to, does Reek Woolen have an aggressive mentality or does he have a passive mentality? Like, he has a passive mentality. And you can tell on the deep shot to Pearsall, for example, when Purdy's getting ready to let that ball go, my arms were in the air and I was screaming, yes, 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 because Reek was in perfect position. And if he just plays corner like a regular corner, that's a pick all day. I remember watching Sherm play the Niners years ago and being up in the luxury box, one of the boxes, and watching Cap start to wind up for a throw to Crabtree down the sideline. My arms are in the air. I'm like, this is an interception all day, because you can see it unfold.
Yeah.
And even after it left Purdy's hand, I was like, this is amazing. And Reek looks up and people are going to say, well, Pitho got a poof. Like, he gave him the tiniest of taps in all of the world. Like, that does not excuse the fact that he stops his feet just a little bit because he's trying to play the ball instead of continuing to play the receiver until the ball is, like, I don't know, near him. And instead of like seeing the ball and then attacking to where it's going to go, he like slows up in that passive mentality. And then again on the touchdown, ball's coming at him. And instead of going up and attacking the football, he fades back like he's Jumpman. And the 49er tight end, who I still don't know his dumb name, goes up and attacks the football. This all ties back to the way that Reek plays football. We talk about his inability to tackle, his lack of want to tackle. He's just not an aggressive human. Shoot. Like, that's him in his press conferences. Everything rolls off his back. He's a passive player, and it showed up again on the final drive.
I think that that's all fair based on what we've seen from him and based on what we heard from Coach Mike coming out of the week. Gosh, he was asked on Wednesday, today, of whether or not Reek would be starting, and he said, we'll see. And he had high praise for Josh Jobe, talked about increasing the number of snaps for him, talked about he was very coy about what position he would play, whether or not he would be on Reek's side or on the other side. And Mike said he'll play corner, which is a very sarcastic response that we've got to see from Coach Mike from time to time. So I think that Coach Mike's leaning into him a little bit on this one.
I hope so. I was kind of surprised that they didn't trade him the offseason that they brought in Coach Mike, because he just doesn't seem like his type of player. It just continues to be a problem for Reek Woolen. And
it's so
it
frustrating too, because when you look at like all of his stats, like he is one of the better corners in the league when it comes down as a whole. When you look at it as a whole, but there's these moments throughout a season where you're criticized, and I think you nailed it with the aggressiveness bit. There's just times that show up where you don't see the aggressiveness that you really want to see.
That's in my opinion. I mean, if other people see it differently, I'm sure there's an argument to be made for it. But to me, it doesn't fit with the rest of this defense, because I'm watching this defense throughout the day, Brandon. Aggression is a word that comes to mind. Mm-hmm. The pads were clicking. This was a hard hitting game. Like
which and this was before off the screen the most as yes the most. One name for you that I did not pick up necessarily watching live, that I went back and watching his reps over and over. Derek Hall. Holy smokes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The number of times, I don't know if Trent Williams maybe got bad in the offseason. Like, part of me hopes that maybe Trent Williams just got bad. But the number of times Derek Hall was like shoving Trent Williams back into Purdy's lap, I was very happy to see that. I said to Clinton, Derek Hall may have been bench pressing buses this entire offseason.
Man, I mean, his strength showed up. Leo's strength showed up. Ernest Jones was thumping people. I've got more on Ernest here as we continue to talk about the defense here in a bit. But, I mean, again, to continue to eat crow, because apparently I love the taste now, Kobe Bryant was filling the hole at times and just thumping people. Like, give him all the credit, too. This defense was aggressive. Julian Love had a nice game. Job obviously had himself a nice game as well. I was impressed, man. I think this defense did everything they were supposed to do in this game, short of covering tight ends.
Covering tight ends, could they have? I'm very curious to know how this game changes with Nick Emanwari on the field. After, in the press conference after the game, Mike was talking about moving, having to move Spoon into the slot. And that was more of the plan. And while we did get to see more Josh Jobe, which may have been a good thing, it did take away from maybe having more Spoon outside and Reek outside, and Emanwari maybe playing that nickel position. They make the change on the fly. Spoon, kind of a quiet game. Like, I know he had one nice ankle tackle that it was either a loss or no gain. But yeah, I'm curious. Especially, after Emanwari had that one great play to start the game, like, how much different would the defense have looked with those three guys on the field versus the shift to Job and having to move Spoon more inside?
Have we gotten any more information on E-Man at all?
They're going to take the week to decide whether or not to IR him.
Oh, it's that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a bummer. It's such a bummer for him to end up being a one pump chump in that game. Like, one play, out. Get out of here, Clinton. I don't want to have to buy you a steak at the beer if DeAnthony Bell. Well, it might be DeAnthony Bell time after Ty Okada had a less than stellar performance as well in his limited exposure out there.
Right.
The defense overall played well. I thought, in terms of stopping the run, I thought they were pretty good. But I do think you're right in terms of them being able to match up tight end wise, because you did see on a couple of the completions, Spoon in communication pre-snap, and there was a little bit of confusion, a little less clarity than I think Mike would like to operate with because of the change in game plan with Emanwari gone.
Yeah. But the defense, in terms of limiting yards per carry, they were solid on the run game. Just if you limit time of possession and maybe have your offense on the field a little bit more to where the Niners weren't just running away with time of possession on the day. Anything else you want to say about the defense?
About the defense, yeah. So I think tackling as a whole was good, but I think pursuit angles as a whole were bad. So there were a number of plays. And the first one that popped to mind was Purdy keeping the touchdown drive alive early in the game with a scramble that Ernest Jones came up for and took one of the worst possible angles he could have possibly taken and got beat. Spoon took some bad angles on a couple of the outside stuff. There was a number. Tyrese Knight did once
Okada
for sure.
Tackle, same.
Okada tackle. Yeah, the tackling angles weren't good as a whole. And there's room for improvement there. And I do think they'll get it cleaned up. Again, week one, you're seeing these, the live bullets for the first time and feeling the speed and all of that. But I do think the physicality, the aggression, the turnovers, all that, it was there for the defense. And I mean, you got that feeling of the physicality of it before you started reading the Niners injury report for the week.
I was going to say, while we may not have gotten the win, we did land more Niners on the injury report for this upcoming week. Brock Purdy didn't practice. Trent Williams didn't practice. McCaffrey not practicing, Juwan not practicing, Bosa. So a lot of guys showing up on the injury report. Gosh, Adam, it sounds like there's a potential that the Niners could be starting Mac Jones this week.
Who?
Right. Who was also on the injury report for an unspecified or for a knee injury, but he
No, it was for inability.
They play the Saints now this week.
Yeah, good for them.
I'm so angry about the way that this division is starting because now the Niners got to win. Now they face the Saints. The Saints, they couldn't put up more than 10 points against the Cardinals. At least I think it was 10 points. But the Cardinals get the win over the Saints, despite the fact that Kyler was sacked 5 times. Rams get the win over the Texans, and now they face the Titans. And now we have to go across the country and play the Pittsburgh Steelers, who put up 30-plus points.
It's going to be interesting. For those of you who, I don't think we've dropped it quite yet, but for waiting for some preview stuff, we have on Really Flawed, a fantastic gal who is a big Steelers fan, covers the league, and Clinton and I do a quick little preview with her. So check that out when it drops. But yeah, Steelers were interesting last week. Some things to worry about and some things to lick your chops about. So I'm going to be excited to see if we can make sure that DK Metcalf does not get his revenge game.
We don't want DK to have his revenge game. And what we do want is for that Steelers run defense to look how it did last week. Because that's one thing I did not expect was the Steelers to give up as much in the running game as they did, just based on history, right? And and the players that they have. Like, that's not a team that you expect is going to give up that much yardage. But we'll get to that more later in the week, too. And I'm sure you guys will get into that and what if as well as the Behind Enemy Line show you got coming up.
Yep, no doubt about it. And also it was interesting because I don't think any of us thought of the Jets as like one of the teams that will be elite at running the football per se.
No, or really elite at anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jets. So, yeah, not elite at anything.
All right. Some people who are elite, Adam, are our executive producers. DCH, Ryan Peterson, who you heard from earlier in the show, our live YouTube executive producer, JC Schilling in the 313th, as well as Brian Shaw and Adam. Brian coming in with a Zelle donation of $112.12.
Well, holy Hannah, that's amazing. Thank you, man. Love the number too, 112 and all that. Yeah, I mean, you guys are. Is there a point though where we stop getting blown away with the amazingness of our listeners? Like, I don't know that comes.
I don't know. Let's keep going and see if you stop getting blown away. Because Lauren came in with a 1212 donation via getintheflock.com. Welcome to the flock to Lauren.
Whoa. Like, Lauren, hair back, blowing all the way. Like, yeah, still blown away.
Welcome to the flock to Epic Birdman, who is in as a $3 member. Going to get into the Discord. Appreciate that, Epic Birdman. And Adam, Jake Burdine, coming in with a $312 donation with his annual 2526 Better at Life donation.
Oh, only plus $300? Like, less
Finally
than
happened.
blown away. Still blown away, Jake. That was amazing. Yeah, you guys are incredible. Thank you so much. It really does put a lot of wind in our sails in terms of wanting to continue the show. Not that we'd stop, but
you're acting like great. I'm done. You're acting like I'm done with this list, and I'm not.
Well then, dumb me.
Mike Buford coming in with a $25 donation to getintheflock.com. I've been a stinking freeloader for years. Just wanted to say that I'm now no longer freeloading on this podcast. You guys kill it.
Thanks,
I'm now better at life than my former self. Go Hawks from Mike.
And Skip Bayless. Like, better than both. And here's the thing is, like, you can be a freeloader and not stink. Like, I think a lot of freeloaders still shower. So I doubt he was stinking.
That's true. Just but by his own definition. That's fine.
I know. I just wanted him not to be so hard on himself.
Marvin Nelson in at $12.12 a month. Welcome to the flock to Marvin. Also,
Heck yeah, man.
welcome to Max in at $5 a month. And closing it out with Mika Sabados in at $36 for the year. Welcome to the flock to
Holy
Mika.
smokes.
Or Micah.
You guys are incredible. Micah, potato, amazing either way. Thank you a ton. And it allows us to do cool things like get out to Seattle and meet up with a bunch of the little flockers. And you guys were awesome. I had a ball with you guys. I know Brandon did too. Clinton was so about it. But yeah, it was great.
And we've got the Snail gifting 5 Seahawkers podcast memberships. So there you go. If you're following along in the chat, a big thanks to the Snail for gifting a membership. And now, you get whatever goes along with that as being a member in our YouTube chat.
Yeah. I can't remember what that is, but that's awesome. And I love the pay it forward mindset of the gifting of the memberships. I think that is like one of the coolest things. It really does tickle me.
Clinton saying turn gifting on in your YouTube profile. I found out that if your YouTube profile is old, that finding that option is nearly impossible. So
a struggle, huh?
Yeah. I don't know how you do it.
So YouTube's like Verizon. Like if you've been with them forever, they give you the shaft on getting things. Like, yeah.
You can't get gifts, or you have to create it. I'm not going and creating a new YouTube account. YouTube, come on now.
No. One thing people
can find a way to upcharge you or spy on you even more than they do.
Yeah, true. One thing people can do in the YouTubes now, and I'm still not sure what it does or anything, but in the comments you can or at least on the tablet, you can swipe over on the first comment down below the video, and it'll give you the ability to hype a video.
Ooh.
And apparently they're doing this to try to help smaller channels really kind of get out there. So hype us up, be our Flavor Flav, be like, yeah, boy, and hit that hype button.
When you hit the hype button, even though we won't know it, you have to say, yeah, boy, as you hit it, just to, we'll feel it within the Hawker of the universe.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, you do.
One person we always feel during the season, it is John the Bard Davison. And man, oh man, Adam, I know you're going to love hearing me read these live because sometimes these are a struggle for me to read live and nobody would ever know it. But here we go. I love
that you got the moxie to get after it, and I love to hear from John again. It's been a minute. I thought maybe after his soccer team won the championship and everything, he may have just died a happy man, and that was that. But no, John's still with us, thank goodness. And let's hear Brandon's fake Bard voice. Let's go.
All right. Well, hi, fellas. Well, you spend months waiting for the first game, and then it comes with great excitement and then smacks you right in the mouth. Sky over here have expanded their coverage, and we managed to get the game live, so I sat down wondering how it would all go. I'd spoken to Barry, who was excited too, but with just cause, as they put away Russell Wilson and the Giants quite easily. Would our offense click? Would Sam be the Sam from last year? Would the O-line be at least reasonable? Well, we have some answers now. I thought the defense were fine, but the offense? Well, we never really got started, did we? Plenty of questions here. Why wasn't Cup featured more? And one big concern, how the hell did so many Niner fans get in? Over here, away teams get an allocation of 10% approximately, but they were all over the ground. I found this very embarrassing. So it's on to Pittsburgh this week, and it's Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf versus Reek Woolen. Oh my God. Go Hawks from the Bard.
It's going to be interesting to watch that matchup, no doubt. Not quite as interesting as watching Brandon nail that with his Bard voice. They're very well done. I'm very impressed right off the cuff. Why didn't they feature Cup more? I think he's closer to washed than not washed. Honestly, I think that's where we're at there. Let's see. What else did John have in there? Kind of the gut punch of it for sure.
Niners fans. Niners fans in the stands.
That's what it was. The 10% allocation thing. It's because here in America, we're capitalists. And so we don't allocate things and be socialist with our tickets. So, yeah, it's just how it works.
I like the idea, though. Also, I think we should relegate whatever that small percentage is to one section that isn't behind the TV cameras, because that's the part I think that is bothersome. Put them maybe in the end zones, or I don't know, find some
Thank you.
very undesirable area to stick them. Like, I don't know, maybe over in T-Mobile Park, they can watch the game from the Mariners Stadium.
Yep, I totally agree with that. Yeah, another building for them would be just fine. I can't think that there was more than, like, we talked about it after the game. I said I think about 30%, like right after the game, and upon reflection and all that. You said closer to 20. I think there couldn't have been more than 20%.
Yeah, I feel based on the noise factor is where it wasn't noticeable. You didn't see us going silent count when we had our final drive.
No.
So that's how you know. It was not that impactful. We've got me coming in. Maybe not me.
Good job,
but
you.
Me.
Other me.
With a 1999 super chat. Enjoy the content, fellas. Keep up the hard work.
Dude, huge thanks, man.
I've always
Appreciate
wondered
it,
about me and me donating to the show. And I really think that when it comes to me and my contributions, it's really underrated.
I think so. Not to mention yourself. Like, and I. Like, I mean, all of us contribute a bunch.
All right, Adam. What do you say we get on to some do better and better at life?
All right, man. My do better this week is for the Lone Star Tick. Most of you probably haven't heard about this. It's mainly like an East Coast thing, but I saw this the other day, and this must be the meanest tick that's ever ticked. Because, like, I'm reading this article, and I'm like, really? This is what happens to people after they get bit by the Lone Star Tick? You know what it does to you, Brandon? It's vicious. It turns you into a fucking vegan. Like, you can't eat. I'm dead serious. You can't eat meat. You can't do dairy. You can't do cheese because of something. It makes it so that you can't process what's called an alpha-gal sugar molecule, which I'm not sure is a real thing, but they say it in the article enough times that it sounds like it, like it is. But these poor people out in Massachusetts, man, been bitten by the Lone Star Tick, and no more meat, no more cheeses. Like, none of the good stuff.
No.
Takes away the joy in life, turns you into a vegan. You got to start going to the good food store every day in your best Patagonia from that point forward. It's so awful. So to the Lone Star Tick, go back to wherever you came. We want to be good, red-blooded, red meat-eating, cheese-eating Americans. Let's go. So to the Lone Star Tick, do better.
To all of those people impacted by the Lone Star Tick, one tip. As you are now suffering as a vegan, I will pass on to you the best choice in terms of vegan food. It is potato chips. I found the top of the mountain with vegan food.
Is fries not in there?
I mean, they're fine, but they're not potato chips.
I think I'd go, well, depending on the fries. Let's say McDonald's fries. I think I'd go McDonald's fries over chips.
Ooh, over like a Doritos or?
Oh, so you're talking like flavor chips. Okay.
Well, of course. Like, there's no meat in that flavor.
All right. Okay. I'll go with chips with you, especially if all dressed ruffles are on the board. Because those are delightful.
In the chat, because you can. This is a pro tip if you're going to Applebee's. You order, now you have to pass on the steak, unfortunately, as a newfound vegan, but you order double starch, you go mashed potato, you go fries, and then you dip your fries in the mashed potatoes.
Do the mashed potatoes have? Chip. Oh, you can't have cheese or sour cream on your mashed potato either. Oh, that's brutal.
It's tough. All right. My do better this week is for, and maybe you're guilty of this one, Adam, with your talk about Cooper Kupp, talking about.
That's not who I talked about. I talked about Kupp.
Right.
I don't talk about Cooper Kupp.
You also talked about Reek Woolen. One of our mantras for the show is, over the years, has been, it's not always a steady progression toward awesome. So, and you didn't do this, but I've seen some suggestions out there that, we trade Ken Walker after his week 1 performance. One, what would his value be after week 1 if we're just looking to try and trade him? Probably not real high. 2, we also need to recognize that injuries happen, and we do need 2 backs to have a little bit of depth too. So don't go trading away your depth. I think this week 1 overreaction stuff, it does go for Reek Woolen to a bit, just because. And I wonder if this has to do why both these guys are kind of in this pot. Well, one of it's based on performance, but they're also in a contract year. And I get the idea of maybe not wanting to pay them based on a lot of this inconsistency that we've seen. But I think that they still have the potential. It is just one game. So it doesn't mean that they're not going to improve throughout the season. So if your reaction is that someone needs to be fired or traded and their name isn't Jake Moody, you need to do better.
I'm close to falling into this camp for you because I think I just called for Cup to be demoted, not like traded or anything like that. And Reek, I don't think this is just one game.
No, it's not. And that's why I don't necessarily put you in that camp. But
well, thank you. But if you did, I wouldn't take offense. You're more than welcome to.
All right. My Better at Life this week, Adam, is for Chris Collins. He is at Chris Co. and then 4 L's in Collins. So Chris Collins out on X. And Adam, you would not believe how many people think that this guy was the guy who pushed Lamar Jackson at the Bills-Ravens game on Sunday night. Have you seen this video that was going around, the apology video of the guy in the neck brace and saying, offering his apology to Lamar, offering his apology to the Bills organization? It is a masterful video, especially in terms of, gosh, he I guess because he looks like just enough like the guy who was pushing the stand, because you don't really get that good of a look. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, toward the end, was it toward the end? It was at some point in the Bills game against the Ravens. There was a touchdown, and Lamar runs down to celebrate, and there's this fan in the stand that pushes, I think it was D-Hop in the helmet, and then pushes Lamar. Well, Lamar's not having any of it, and he pushes the fan back, puts him in his place. The fan ends up getting ejected. And then based off of that, this Twitter, I think he's a Bills fan, puts together an amazing neck brace video where he even starts to cry in it. He professes his love for Josh Allen. I can't tell you how many accounts I've seen out on X who have been retweeting this video as if it's the actual fan that was pushed and making fun of him as though this is a serious and legitimate video. And because it was so masterful and is getting that kind of reaction, Chris Collins, better at life than Skip Bayless.
Nice. So like a bit of a parody then. Like
it's
pretending
a
to be the guy.
solid parody, and it's so solid that it has fooled so many people.
Yeah,
he even doubled down on it and wrote did another video of the quote unquote fan who had the neck brace on before, and he's now sitting and caught in a restaurant, and he like puts up his hands like he's like feeling his neck, and then it's he's really
like he's been cheating his disability or something.
Yeah, it's a great video.
That's hilarious. No, good for him. Make some light of the situation. I think that's a lot of fun. So to Chris, keep getting them checks. I hope you get
I hope he gets checks out of it. At least he's
right.
only up at like 5,000 followers on X still. So I don't think he's getting enough recognition.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he should probably put it up on a different platform because it happens on Twitter.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, exactly. But, thinking about that moment in that Bills-Ravens game, the fan that did shove those two players, I hope that there's zero repercussions for Lamar Jackson. Because whatever came that dude's way, you crossed the line into their house, right?
He's lucky.
And laid hands. Damn lucky. Yeah, I thought Lamar showed nice restraint. Honestly, like that guy deserved whatever came his way. That was stupid with the capital stupid.
Yeah.
Just never.
Don't
do that.
I doubt anything will happen to Lamar, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. All right, man. My better life than Skip Bayless for this week is for JJ McCarthy. Watching that Monday night game against the Bears and watching what has been deemed a massive struggle for him in the first 2.5 quarters, which actually, if you go back and you watch the film, he did what he was supposed to do in the circumstances in which he was in for the majority of the time. I thought he did a really nice job of not hurting the team and in protecting the team. But then to take that and then flip it on its head and make the Bears look stupid again in primetime was hilarious. Watching Ben Johnson melt down on the sidelines, hilarious. Watching Caleb Williams not be able to hit the broadside of a barn at 3 feet, hilarious. It was great. JJ McCarthy for the moxie and the determination and the intestinal fortitude to come back in that game and turn it on and look like, you know, a Tom Brady type in the fourth quarter in that clutchiness. I love it, man, because I like JJ a lot coming out of college. Felt better about him than Caleb, but I wussed out and I put Caleb above him because everybody said he was a generational talent and I shouldn't have. So JJ for turning it on when the time was right and punking the Bears as usual. Better at life than Skip Bayless.
Yeah, that was a fun ending and fun to see JJ get that win. Fun to be here live and enjoying the show. And a big thanks to Clinton Bonner, who is producing in the background, putting up some graphics for us, putting up some comments. Big thanks to producers, well, live executive producer Ryan 911, producer Shane Turner Acoustic, got the Snail gifting memberships, and also a big thanks to me, and not necessarily me, but me in the chat.
Hey, man. Yeah, for sure. You and yourself, and anybody else who wanted to get in with a super chat. Really do appreciate you guys. Disappointing week one, 0-1 in the division, all that stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that we saw there that we can build on. It wasn't a dumpster fire. We didn't get dominated. There was nothing like that. A lot to look forward to coming up against the stupid Steelers. I can't wait.
We're going to get to it. We will be back here. We're planning to be back here live on Friday night. So until then, enjoy What If on Thursday. Enjoy the preview with the Steelers. And we'll be back here Friday night, Adam.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, we're going to be live for What If tomorrow morning. If you want to see what I look like at not my favorite time of the day, I encourage you to check in.
Check in. It's fun. It's super fun to see Adam first thing in the morning. You can't do it.
I'm not grumpy at all. Yeah,
I'm
just. There's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.